a lot about books, and I post a lot about, things that I'm learning so they can learn with me, and vice versa. They also send me, their recommendations on books and podcasts and YouTube. So it's very rewarding.
That's great. Was it hard just from the point of, listen, like when this aired, like, and you were still, maybe at the tail end, but you were still kind of in this relationship, like specifically that scene in like France with like Anna Shay, and, like the world had their opinion, right? Like a lot of people were saying like abusive, and they were using all these other words. And like, I mean, was that hard when like the world now had an opinion on a relationship that maybe you were kind of ready to get out of, but you were still in it?
Well, the hardest thing is that people doesn't realize that, like what they're watching happened, over a year ago. So I had to relive everything. That was the hard part. But I just had to say that I was really happy I stayed off Twitter, because Twitter is just mean. So I stayed on Twitter pretty much the whole time. Yeah, people's gonna have their opinions, but also, I want to kind of point out that what Drew and I share was 5.5 years, and what they saw was a sliver that was on television. So there's obviously a lot of positive, but the little negative, the negative as well that showed. So I just stayed off Twitter as much as possible.
But in a way, I mean, it's like, what an education. Like you kind of just dove in the deep end. Like now, maybe some of your other castmates, like as things happen, like they're, going to kind of be in the hot seat. And, like what could really be more personal than that? Like a 5.5 year relationship, just being exposed to the world that had its ups and downs and ultimately ended. Like you almost kind of just ripped that Band-Aid off in your first season.
Yep. And it hurt.
That's got to be a good thing though, going forward, of just like, I can handle anything now, right?
No, absolutely. And then I think it's so beautiful now that they're able to capture some of my healing process, and and it's such a nice journey that I'm trying to my best to live in the present now. Before I was always lived in the past or lived in the future. Now I'm able to kind of center myself and live in the present, and able to show that, now hopefully with future seasons. And then I'm hoping that audience can see that and be inspired, even if just one or two people, by my journey, and know that there's better things, there's healing that can be done, and it's never too late.
Well, we definitely saw a lighter Kelly in season 2. I mean, other than obviously the fact that Andrew wasn't there and you guys are not together, like how was season 2 different for you?
Filming wise, for me, it was so much better, just because I don't have to always think about like, okay, how to make sure he feels okay, or if I say this, will this affect him? Like it was a lot of, I think, baggage I was kind of carrying season 1. Season 2 obviously is a little bit, it was more fun for me because I get to be with my friends and laugh. There was definitely a lot drama in season 2, even watching it myself, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like so much drama. But I was happy that I stayed out most of them.
There was quite a bit of drama in season 2. Was it anything as you watched it back, like shock you, like anything you weren't involved with, like a scene maybe that you weren't there for, where you're like, oh, wow, this is, I didn't know about this.
Oh, I think that the ending scene with Christine and Anna at lunch, and they were just like going at it. I was like, oh, I was on the edge of my seat. So that was a pretty epic discussion, I would say.
That was possibly one of the best scenes of the whole damn season. I mean, mm-hmm. where did you find Anna Shay? And does Anna Shay know that she is like an icon, like one of the best reality TV stars ever to exist of all time? Like, where does this woman come from?
Yeah, I don't even know if she knows that, because I she's on social media, but she's really not. But I'm thinking other people like are running for her, just because like, when you text her, she has 2 phones. When you text her, you never know who it goes to. And she lives in her own world. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And that's so unique about Anna. She doesn't give a fuck. I don't know if we can say fuck on this podcast, but she doesn't give a fuck.
You can say fuck. And well, I mean, it's so refreshing. It's like, I mean, we're all, unless you're a certain age, but most of us remember what life was like before social media. You're like, she just is so authentically herself and just doesn't care. And it's like so freeing.
Yeah.
Is that what happens though? Like if you text her and you get a response, you're like, this might be her. This might be one of like 5 other people that are handling this for her.
Yeah, probably 90% or 95%, you won't get a response from her. The text Maria normally, and Maria will answer back, but that's across board for everybody. Just always hard to reach her. Anna Shay can reach you, but you can't reach Anna Shay.
I love that. And who is Maria? Because people want, I mean, there is some other things online, like who is this Maria? I mean, it says Anna's friend, but like, does she work for her? Does she just live there? Like, who is Maria? People are obsessed.
Maria is just Anna's friend. They've been best friends for a long time, and they don't live together. Maria has her own house on the other side of the city, and Maria's really sweet. She's just always there, and she's there to kind of always she's always very level headed, I would say.
Does Anna Shay does she like being part of this? Like, does she understand? I mean, and I don't mean that in like a disrespectful way. Like, does she understand like this show's a huge success and like people love her? She's beloved. Like, does she get that at least?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
It's just, it makes you wonder.
Yeah, it's Anna's world. We're just all living in it.
Kind of. Well, you mentioned this scene between Christine and Anna, and the more things change, season 2 does feel much different. The more they stay the same. Like, what is it about Christine and Anna? Like, why do you think like they're just oil and water?
It's kind of hard to answer. I think both of them have different opinions on things, and I think sometimes they are speaking the same thing, but they're just saying the different ways. I hope in the future they're able to see each other's point of view and have an understanding. And we have a little bit of that, at the end of season 2. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think any of it is like this just power struggle? Because from what I'm sitting, I'm like, these two just want to be queen bee. Like, they each want to kind of be in the number 1 seat in this group.
Maybe. I don't know. I think because for me, I never really that's not really me. I don't really kind of fight for it. I'm just happy. I love everyone. But that might be very much be the case.
What about, we saw Kevin kind of, throw some romantic interest in your way during season 1. This season, it's Kim. Like, what is it about Kevin? Doesn't somebody want to date Kevin? I mean, I'll date Kevin if no one else wants to.
There you go. I think, Kevin's figuring out what he wants. And, I was very, very for Kevin and Kim at the beginning, because I believe in love, and I really think Kim deserves somebody great. And I believe Kevin deserves someone great. And I was hoping that it would be for each other, because at the beginning with their friendship, it was always bickering, and I'm like, there's like bickering like a married couple, and I'm like, I guess just get together and be done with it, or whatever, sort this out. So I was actually really pro them, but obviously towards the end